I went home. That was about it. And I just relaxed.
Julien Alfred just sent shockwaves through the track world with a move no one saw coming. After dominating the 100 meters and 200 meters in 2024, she made a bold shift, stepping up to the 300 meters, smashing a national record, and sending a warning to Gabby Thomas and Shericka Jackson. With this sudden twist in her career, one question lingers: is she coming for their crown? Her rise to the top has been nothing short of spectacular. In 2024, she turned heads and left the competition in the dust, proving she was one of the fastest women alive. Then came the Paris Olympics, where she delivered a career-defining performance. Competing against the biggest names in sprinting, Julien didn't just run, she dominated. She made history for St. Lucia, securing the country's first ever Olympic medal, and not just any medal, but gold. Blazing through the 100 meters in 10.72 seconds, she left her competitors trailing behind, including Sha'Carri Richardson, who had to settle for silver. But Julien's win wasn't just about speed, it was about how she commanded the race. Power, precision, complete control. She showed the world she wasn't just a rising star, she was a future legend, and she didn't stop there. The 200 meters was always a battlefield, with Gabby Thomas and Shericka Jackson setting the standard. But Julien proved she was more than just a 100-meter specialist, clocking 21.86 seconds to take home silver. That placed her among the fastest women in history in both events, drawing comparisons to Florence Griffith Joyner, Allyson Felix, and Shelly Ann Fraser-Pryce. At just 22 years old, she was already one of the most feared sprinters in the world. Most athletes in her position would have spent 2025 defending their titles. But Julien, she wasn't satisfied. Instead of focusing solely on the 100 meters and 200 meters, she made a shocking move. She shifted her entire training strategy, stepping into the 300 meters, a race that isn't even considered a standard sprinting event at the elite level. The New Balance Indoor Grand Prix in Brighton, Massachusetts on February 2nd, 2025 was where it all went down. When Julien lined up for the 300 meters, the track world was stunned. This wasn't a casual experiment. This was a statement. The 300 meters requires a brutal combination of raw speed and endurance, and few sprinters can master it. But Julien wasn't just there to compete, she was there to win. When the gun went off, she exploded out of the blocks, her powerful strides eating up the track. And when she crossed the line, everyone watching knew they had just witnessed something special: 36.16 seconds. A new St. Lucian national record, a time that instantly made her the 15th fastest woman in history at that distance. And as if that wasn't enough, she beat her training partner Dinah Asher-Smith, who ran a personal best of 36.87 seconds. This was not a fluke. The 300 meters is no joke. It sits in that awkward space between the 200 meters and 400 meters, requiring next level endurance and power. But Julien thrived, proving she wasn't just testing new ground, she was setting herself up for something bigger. And this was not random. Her coach, Edric Floreal, had hinted at this move months earlier. He had already told NBC's Ato Bolden that Julien would be racing more 400-meter events in 2025 to build her stamina and endurance. The 300 meters was just the beginning. Her dominance in this race wasn't just about breaking records, it was about what comes next. Analysts immediately started discussing what this meant for her 100-meter and 200-meter performances. If she could maintain her blazing speed over 300 meters, imagine how much stronger she could finish in a 200-meter race. That final 50 meters? That's where races are won or lost, and that's exactly where Gabby Thomas and Shericka Jackson have historically had the edge. But if Julien could now hold her speed better in the closing stages, she could start running 21.7 or even 21.6 times. Her coach's emphasis on 400-meter training suddenly made perfect sense. It wasn't about competing in the 400-meter, it was about using that endurance training to dominate the 200-meter. Gabby and Shericka have always had one major advantage over their competitors: their 400-meter backgrounds. That endurance allows them to power through the final stretch of the 200 meters, while others fade. Gabby's 400-meter personal best is a blistering 49.60 seconds, while Shericka has clocked an unbelievable 49.41. That's what makes them so dangerous. But now, Julien is working to close that gap, but she's already proven she has the raw speed to be a champion. Now, she's developing the endurance to match, and once she does, the entire women's sprinting landscape could shift. And if her 300-meter performance was any indication, she's just getting started. Gabby Thomas and Shericka Jackson have spent the past few years dominating the 200 meters because of one key advantage: endurance. Their 400-meter backgrounds have given them the ability to maintain blistering speed in the final stretch while others start to slow down. Gabby boasts a 49.60 second personal best in the 400 meters, while Shericka has clocked an even faster 49.41. These numbers aren't just impressive, they explain why they control the 200 meters. And that's exactly what Julien Alfred is trying to change. Unlike Thomas and Jackson, Julien never trained for the 400 meters. In fact, her last recorded time over that distance was a modest 58.29 seconds. Far from elite level, but here's the thing, she never needed to train for it until now. Her coach, Edric Floreal, knows what he's doing. If Julien wants to be a real threat in the 200 meters, she has to match the endurance of the best. It's not just about explosive speed, it's about holding that speed through the final 50 meters when champions are made. And that's where 400-meter training comes in. It's designed to build stamina, strengthen muscles against fatigue, and increase speed retention, all the things that will help shave crucial tenths of a second off her 200-meter time. And the results are already starting to show. Her 300-meter performance at the New Balance Indoor Grand Prix wasn't just a great race, it was a warning. 36.16 seconds wasn't just a personal best, it was a new St. Lucian national record and a top 15 all-time performance in the event. And if she can hold that kind of speed over 300 meters, imagine what she can do in the 200 meters with this new training strategy. This kind of developmental shift isn't new in track and field. Some of the greatest sprinters in history have used 400-meter training to dominate the 200 meter. Take Michael Johnson, for example, one of the greatest 200 meters and 400 meters runners of all time. He trained across both events, using his 400-meter strength to power through the 200 meter. Even Usain Bolt, the greatest sprinter in history, incorporated 400-meter endurance work into his training to maintain his top speed longer than anyone else. And now, Julien Alfred is following the same blueprints. The track world is taking notice. NBC Sports analyst Otto Bolden recently revealed that Coach Floreal is making Julien race more 400-meter events this season. That revelation alone sent fans and analysts into a frenzy. Cause if there's one thing about Floreal, it's that he doesn't make random decisions. Every move is strategic, every shift is calculated, and every race is a stepping stone towards something greater. Julien isn't just focused on short sprints anymore. She's building something far more dangerous. Endurance, power, the ability to hold top speed for longer. And that spells trouble for the competition. Because let's be real, Julien already has the explosiveness to win medals, but if she masters speed endurance, she won't just be competing with Gabby and Shericka, she'll be beating them. Her 21.86 second personal best in the 200 meters, that's going to drop. 21.7, within reach. 21.6, a real possibility. And if she continues progressing at this pace, the entire women's sprinting landscape is about to change. Imagine it, Julien, with her already lethal start, combined with the ability to close stronger than ever before. Gabby and Shericka have historically had the edge in the final 50 meters, but now Julien is coming for that closing power. If she can push through the last stretch of the 200 meters with the same intensity she showed in the 300 meters, she could be unstoppable. And this isn't just wishful thinking, this is a real threat. Julien's 300-meter race proved she's getting stronger, but more importantly, it showed that she's adaptable. She's not afraid to step out of her comfort zone, challenge herself, and redefine what's possible. That's the mark of a champion in the making. So what happens next? The real test will come when she steps onto the track for her next 200-meter race. If her endurance training pays off as expected, she could be setting personal bests sooner than anyone imagines. And if that happens, Gabby Thomas and Shericka Jackson won't just be looking over their shoulders, they'll be in a full-blown race to keep up. Because Julien Alfred isn't just training to compete, she's training to take over. And judging by what we've seen so far, she's just getting started.